And this is where we should have started. This is a series of the latest pieces of work that I've been doing. I was in a show at the Heath Gallery in Manhattan. It was called 6 by 6. So the concept of the show was that artists would create artwork that was 6 inches by 6 inches. So I took canvas board that was 6 inches by 6 inches, and I created this series of work. As I said, as a collagist, I got frustrated because I couldn't find pictures that I needed in my work, and I found out with my body of dance that I photographed over the past 35 years, my dancers, if I look through them, I'll find a dancer for every situation. And so this was really just a message. Listen, okay? If you want to make great art, you have to listen to people too, all right? That's a CD, a little CD cover. The figures surrounding it at the top, right and left, that's vegetation, that's a plant, okay? So I put down this plant, I put the CD on the top, the thing in the middle, I took a photograph of it. The dancers are a dancer of Fred Benjamin Dance Company that took maybe 25 years ago. But this is the series that I worked on most recently. Always use dancers because they tell the story. This is a combination of a portrait, dancers, and the violinist was, I saw him in the Metro in Paris. This one, interesting picture, this one is called Mama Said, Don't Play in the Grass. Okay, you see grandmother and mother were looking out the window. They told their daughter not to go in the backyard and play in the grass because there are ants back there. But she went anyway. And so this is what happened to her. The figure on the right, that's my face. I draw that every day. Okay, I still believe that the best thing that I do as an artist is draw. I still believe that. So every day I draw this figure on the right. If some of your parents know, there was a television show called Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And at the beginning of the show, an artist drew Alfred Hitchcock's profile. So when I was in the 4th grade, I was with a group of artists, and we used to draw this. Okay, we used to come to school and try to do it in 8 moves, the same way as the artist did on the television show. And so I abstracted it to this, and then combining it with leather, photographs. The thing on the top, on the left-hand side, that's actually a 3-dimensional object, 2 3-dimensional objects. So with this series of the 6 by 6, I use photographs, I use 3-dimensional objects, I use paper. This one is paper. The circular thing, that's something I found on the ground. I believe it's off of a car, okay? And then I like to combine my art with words of empowerment. Believe, dream, imagine. You know, that's what I was doing in this series. So I'm just going to go through what I do best, what I'm best known as, that I believe, I don't know why it is I can photograph dancers. I believe it's because I spent my time on the dance and I know what the dancers on the stage are feeling and what they're doing. So for some reason, I'm able to photograph dancers. And it's not easy, it's hard. It's actually very difficult to do. And this is combination, very simple technique. I took 2 negatives, a photograph of a dancer and a photograph of a window at the Newark Museum, and I sandwiched them. I put them together, and I made one print of it. If you're a digital artist, you can do the same thing. You can, and this is something I haven't heard of anybody doing, but I'm sure people are doing it. Print the image on a piece of paper, let it dry, put it back in the printer, and print another image on top of it. Okay, you're making a double exposure a different way. This is digital photogram. Okay, this is one of my favorites. This is called Leap of Faith. Has a lot of different meanings. The figure of the dancer, I printed as a black and white photograph in the darkroom. I took that black and white photograph and I made something called a reverse. I took the black and white, I reversed it in the darkroom and made everything black, white, and everything white, black. cut the figure of the dancer out, put her on the glass of a digital scanner, put a photograph, the purple piece, and then the other pieces are three-dimensional pieces that I scattered around. Strategically, made this about 10 times. And then the green, that's a piece of fabric, okay? So this is the digital photogram. And I do it in a variety of ways. Sometimes I do it at just this size. This one I actually have blown up, and it's about maybe 3 feet by 4 feet. So, you know, I love shadow boxes. So this is a series of shadow boxes. I got frustrated making art that was flat. A friend of mine gave me 39 by 9 boxes, shadow boxes. And so I created a series of shadow boxes that have images flat. I have images that are on top of the glass. I have images inside of the box on the glass. I have images surrounding the glass. This is a piece that I did with City Without Walls in the Art Reach Mentoring Program. You see on the right, there's that face again that I keep doing. This is, remember I said you can do a reverse figure on the right. Dancer took the dancer and took another negative, put them together to make this figure on the right. Then took the figure on the right and made a reverse and put them together. I didn't like the fact that there was too much black and white, so I just added the little pieces of color. That circle at the top, half circle, I used to work for the city of Newark. I'm in the council chambers. There's a skylight. I looked at the skylight. I took a picture of the skylight and put it together, sandwiched it with the picture of the dancer. And so came up with this. Is this interesting to you? Nobody's responding. Yes? Okay. I'm sorry. I have a couple more and then some questions from you. Shadow box. I was we were going to Italy. There was a big thunderstorm in Newark. We left about 5 hours late. We were going to Paris and then to Italy. We got to Paris, but they said, your plane is gone. They said, well, when can we get another one? In 5 hours. We said, we have to sit here for 5 hours? Well, I sat in the airport for 5 hours and created this piece called 5 Hours in Paris. Okay? I was there for 5 hours. I said, hey, might as well take some pictures. And then created this shadow box. This was a beautiful, beautiful airport. I think it was Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Paris. And then whenever I travel, I always make a collage or an assemblage to remember what happened to me while I was there. And this one is important. First time I was in Paris. And also the first time I ever traveled and used a digital camera. You talk about a leap of faith. Now I'm somebody who was used to, at one point, carrying one camera with film, black and white film, another one with color film, and now I could carry both of them in this one camera. And I was about to leave my house, and I said, oh, let me get a camera and some film. I said, no, don't do that. Take a leap of faith. You know, take the digital camera. Let's see what happens. And, you know, did pretty well. I'm going to show these pictures from Paris, and then I'm going to stop. And we can talk. Love Paris, beautiful city. It reminds me of Washington. When I was coming through Washington, you know, I noticed that there was art everywhere I looked. And Paris reminded me of Washington. There was art everywhere. So I'm going to show you some art from Paris, and then I'm going to stop talking. This was the gate of a building. Okay, if you look in the lower right and left, there are people there. So you can imagine the size of this door. It was the door to the Queen's Palace. I love to photograph architecture. This was through my sister-in-law's window, her little balcony, little shopping center. Interesting architecture in Paris. I loved it. This is a building made of steel and glass. Doorknob. You know what this is? This was a face on the bottom of a lamppost. I said, wow, really? And there's the Louvre, which was our favorite destination, and I had fun working in this museum. It's the most beautiful museum I've ever seen, and I work at the Newark Museum, but this museum is probably second to the Newark Museum. This photograph, I And the Louvre was interesting to me because this is the first time I went to a museum where you could actually take pictures, okay? And when I went to the Louvre, I saw people taking pictures. And I asked the guard, I said, are people allowed to take pictures? He said, sure, it's no problem. So I took this one, saw this view, laid down on my back, and I got this with an ultra-wide zoom lens. So I'm on the bottom floor, and you see 1, 2, there are 3 floors that you're looking at, and then that thing in the center, that's a painting on the ceiling. And that's the Louvre, a different view from inside I.M. Pei's fabulous architecture. I was inside of the building and got this shot, which really weird shot. Carousel. I saw a picture in this exhibit. A student took a picture of a carousel that was, their picture was better than mine. I got to admit it. It was a fabulous photograph. And great wonder. We look forward to going to the Eiffel Tower, but until you see it in front of you, you know, something else happens. And we were walking up and down this thing for about 4 hours, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. For somebody who loves architecture, to see all of this metal somehow converging and being this great instrument. That's the Eiffel Tower too, you know? Now that's the Eiffel Tower. Isn't that interesting? These pieces of metal that seem to be going nowhere are, you know, what essentially hold up this structure. And that's the view from the Eiffel Tower. That's the River Seine, and there it is. I'm tired of talking. Okay, so. So that's essentially my life in the arts. It's been a leap of faith from, you know, just doing this great work that I love to do and making people happy, you know, because that's what it does for me. It makes me happy and it makes other people happy. So it's a blessing to have this gift to share to people. And you're blessed. You're blessed.